Hello, everyone. Welcome to Financeology 101. Class is now in session. The information provided during this podcast is just that information. You will need to do further research to address your specific situation. Enjoy the session. Welcome, everyone, to another session of Gifted Generations Presents Financeology 101. I'm one of your hosts, Robin Seegers, and the other host
Is
is.
Elroy Seekers.
And this session is about your relationship with money. Is it positive, meaning healthy, or is it negative, meaning toxic? So we want you to just go back and think about how you were raised, how how you were raised with money, as far as what did you see your parents or your guardians do or not do with money, because most likely your environment i- um, is what you're going to be living by now, because you're going to emulate what you've seen. So give that some thought. Was it a good relationship? Did you see a good relationship or a toxic relationship?
I guess you're trying to say, how does that impact you now based on how you was raised and what you was doing when you was around that kind of environment?
Right,
Do you see a correlation between then and now type thing?
right.
So when you think of a positive relationship with money, what are you thinking about? What comes to your mind?
A healthy or positive relationship with money, as you seeing money as a tool,
Mm-hmm.
as in that money give you options,
Mm-hmm.
and that you have a respect for the money,
Mm, That's, a,
that you're
that's
not,
that's a powerful word when you say
yeah,
respect for it.
you're not wasting it. But and I think a toxic relationship is that you bogged down, you always worrying about how you going to pay this or how you going to do this, and instead of having a positive thought about money, you feel stressed out because you always trying to figure out how you going to get things done financially.
But what about that's a good segue because let's say someone doesn't make a lot of money, does that automatically have them be a negative relationship? Let's say you can barely make ends meet. Does that put them in that negative relationship, or does it put them in a relationship where they just need to understand what else they need to grow their finances? Because I don't always look at because you can't pay your bills. It could be why maybe a lack of money. It may be emergencies that popped up. My thing is like, I've talked to people that have no credit cards. They got stuff is kind of low, but their income is so low, it can't cover their finances.
Right, right,
And it's like saying you gotta say, and there's nothing else to cut down.
right. You've cut out.
Yeah,
There's nothing to cut out because you don't have anything
yeah. So it's
to
like,
cut out.
yeah, here's your choices. Find a better job or find another job, but you can have two jobs at one, or find another job that's going to pay you more money. It's like, sometimes those choices are kind of hard because when you look at the bottom line, you're like, whoa, you don't have any extra every month. You don't have anything, especially when you're applying the money to everything that you got.
Right. So it's not that you would have a toxic relationship or
Mm-hmm.
negative relationship with money
Mm-hmm.
if you make 1,000 and 1,000 go
Right,
out.
right.
No,
For
you
good
can,
reason. For
for
like,
good
yeah, yeah,
reasons.
yeah. Not like you buying video games stuff like that. That's not a good reason. She sends
No.
for things like phone bill, light bill, electric bill, gas, food,
Right.
stuff like that.
The necessities of
Yes,
life. If
correct.
your money comes in and goes out for the necessities and you have nothing left, that doesn't mean you have a negative relationship with money, because you're using your money wisely.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's toxic is if you got 1,000 come in and your living expenses is 1,000, but you spend $400 on a trip
Yeah,
to somewhere,
I got
then
something.
that's
I got
toxic.
something for you. You said you're not spending the money on anything. You don't have a negative relationship, but it may make you feel as though you have a negative relationship because you don't have any way to make ends meet. So even though what we're saying is like when you think about the principles of having money and everything is paid for and you're doing everything right, that's not negative. But your personal feelings gonna say,
Right.
"Man, I ain't got enough money." It may give you that feeling of, "Man, this is not working." You know,
Right.
it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's an emotional
Right.
thing because, you know, I can't make ends meet. I'm doing everything I can. So it's kind of like a great area in the sense. So understanding what that negative may look like.
Right, because you're feeling bad
Right.
that you're not
Right. Right. Ends meet.
making your paying your expenses.
Hmm.
But it's really more how you're using the
Right.
money
Hmm.
when I say toxic.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that, say you got your light bill due,
Right.
but instead you go out and buy some shoes,
Oh
or
man.
buy a game,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
buy headphones,
Yeah.
or the latest iPhone, or
Yeah.
whatever phone
Man.
out there,
Sure.
and you know you have bills coming up.
Hmm.
That's a toxic, because you're not using the money
Right.
wisely.
Here's another toxic relationship. You know, what people don't think about. I often hear this a lot. I'm always gonna have a car payment. I like getting a new phone every year, and you better
Mm.
make ends meet. It's like, okay, you don't always got to have a car payment. You pay it off and you hold on to it, and you keep it around for a little bit. And these phones you keep getting every year, you're paying $64 a month just to get a new phone. It's like, that's money just to me. When I sit down and when I talk to people, I was like, okay, you know, let's look at the big picture. I try to paint a picture. You know, my thing, what I try to do is not tell them what they need to do. It's like to show them, so and help them drive to a conclusion of, oh, I can't do this no more. Because the minute you tell somebody, you know, this is a toxic situation, this is not positive, this is negative, you know, this is positive. You can tell me that all day long because you and I can see it. Not a big deal. Oh, you like, but you try to convince them, say, what do you see in these numbers? And when you put it on paper or you put it in before them, you have them draw a conclusion like, okay, I gotta make some decisions. Like, yes. And then you're there with them. One thing I always say the we factor. If you were my client, Rob, I was like, hey, Rob, you need to do X, Y, and Z. I say, hey, Rob, this is what we need to do. Because when you feel like you in with somebody else, that we phrase makes them feel less stressed out because it's a we thing, not a you thing. Like you need to. You like you're pointing
Hmm.
the finger. It's like, so that's also a negative or positive relationship with money also because, you know, you can go out and make bad decisions based on how somebody make you feel.
Right.
You know, so you
Right.
want to make sure you know you make sure you make great sound decisions and never make impromptu decisions. Sometimes you need to
Right.
think on those things.
Right. Emotional,
Hmm.
because you have a feeling and you make a decision,
Hmm.
and this decision take you, say, 3 seconds. Now
Hmm.
you in trouble for months.
Hmm.
So
I,
don't try not to make emotional decisions, because they can have lasting impact.
remember I did that. I bought that the AC unit for the attic. I said,
For
man, it
It
was
wasn't for the attic.
that was
It was for your
for
office.
office. It was like $500, $400 for 50. I went and bought it, and man, I put it in there, made the room feel really good. And I thought about it the next morning. I was like, man, what was I thinking? I
Hmm.
packed that thing back up and took it back. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, I can't do that. That was like an impromptu decision, but I came to my senses. You
Right.
know, like,
Right.
what am I thinking here? This is crazy. So we make we're not above making bad decisions because, you know, like I just shared with you, we've done it before. You know, we all make bad decisions, but the thing is, what do you grow from that negative or positive
Right.
impact
Right.
relationship with money? How do you learn from it? You know, how do you say, man, I got enough money to buy this nice car. Let's say you got 3,000 more than enough. The car costs 500 because you can afford it. Should you buy the expensive car? You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. And now I don't know for a fact. I hadn't looked it up yet. There was time about making car payments like 30 years now.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
Like a
I don't know. I don't know if
house.
it's true.
The cars
I have,
cars are not made to last
I
that
have yet. Well,
long.
they're trying to get the payments low so people can afford them. I haven't looked it up. It's
That's
just
a whole,
that was somebody told
like
me.
you have a house.
Yeah, so somebody just told me that, and I just didn't look it up.
But I want people to give thought to, after this podcast. Give thought to, how did you see your parents, your grandparents handle money? Did they stash some away for a rainy day,
Yeah,
meaning saving?
right.
Where they were mindful of their money, meaning they weren't out just buying stuff all willy nilly, and just to have it just because.
Mm,
Did they instill that in you to be mindful of what you're doing to your money? Then that's a positive relationship. My mom and dad may not have had a lot, but they were showing you a positive way of handling it.
yeah,
And when I say
yeah,
positive, negative, it's not really your emotions, it's your actions.
yeah,
How are you handling it?
right.
Or did you see your parents they partying and having a
Mm-hmm.
good time
Mm-hmm.
and spending money, and then they sitting at the table trying to figure out how to get groceries.
Yeah.
Then that's a negative relationship with money. Because something Doc Chapman said that I never even thought about. Money is called currency,
Mm-hmm.
meaning it's supposed to go out and circulate. So are you holding and hoarding your money?
Mm-hmm.
And as far as um not letting it flow out into the world, like getting investing,
Mm-hmm.
mutual funds.
Yeah, he was saying there was good debt and bad debt.
Right, right.
Like
So
business debt. That's a good
right,
debt.
that's a good debt
That's a
because you're
positive
worth.
relationship with money.
Right, right. So you got to give thought to how you were raised, and then because most of us, practically all of us, took a piece of that our upbringing, and that's how we're living today.
Yeah.
And I told this story before. I know someone that only paid the light bill came $100. They were only putting 25 on it, not realizing that the 75
Still got to be paid
was
later.
was still on, and they
Mm-hmm.
kept building up every
Yep.
month, just paying 25,
Yep.
and then the lights go off. And then they like, you owe $1,000, and they're like, how $1,000 been paying y'all?
Turn
But
those
yeah,
cameras on. Light them cameras up.
you only paying $25 a month when it
Yeah.
was $100 a month.
Because most people just try to get just to keep it on.
Right,
That's
right.
it.
And
Yeah.
see, that was something that was learned. They saw their parents do it.
Mm-hmm.
So they continue that. That's a negative relationship with money because they never got the concept that the remaining balance was still there. But
Accountability.
right. And they saw their parents and they were used to the lights going out and they
Right.
were used to this. So they continued that because that's what they were used to. That's what we're trying to say here. Give thought to how did you see your guardians, your grandparents, your parents use money?
Right.
Were they free as far as it wasn't weighing them down so
Mm-hmm.
much? Or
Right.
was it a bondage where they
Right.
were always, oh my
Right.
goodness?
And one thing, once you see your relationship with money based on the past, there's it gives generations we offer that services, have people to change their mindset so they can approach money in a positive, negative way. So different kind of things, programs there that you can make those changes because
Hmm.
you're not there forever,
Right.
but it's like, hey, I recognize this. Now I need to make the adjustment. And you can make those adjustments without a problem. But you gotta be willing to sit down with yourself and form a plan. Because once you realize it, the mistakes you're making, you can alter anything you want to.
It's a mindset that you have to have change your attitude towards
Mm-hmm.
money.
Yep.
Change it from negative to positive.
Yep.
Change it from I'm a shop till I drop, spend it all, and then I'll worry about the bills later. That's a
Mm-hmm.
negative relationship with money.
My mom used to
That's
always
a
say that,
negative. Yep, my mother-in-law say shop till you drop, and
and she meant that every
and
Christmas, though. Every Christmas.
that was a that's a negative relationship with money. But if you say, okay, I'm gonna set aside $25 because I saw a pair of pants that I want, or they cost 100, but I'm gonna set aside $25 for a while until I get the $100. That's a positive relationship
Yes,
because you're
that's planning.
planning. You're planning.
Right.
So when we say negative and positive, it's not how you feel, it's your actions.
Yeah.
What are you doing? How you acting towards the money? Are
Right.
you using it wisely, or are you just spending it and you figure it out as you go?
Yeah. It is and when you look at the world's debt issue, the interest rate for credit cards is going up,
Mm.
and you're hearing that there's more people on credit cards using credit cards than before. Excuse me. That's because of old habits are now have gotten worse, or not
Mm-hmm.
worse. Not because of what they're doing, is because you're still doing the exact same thing, but the rates have now changed. So before it was like, let's say $200, same habit. Now that $200 is now $250. And now it's
Mm-hmm.
going to take you a lot longer to pay that card off, 16, 17 years. So the world around you is continuing to move, and you're not making great decisions. You're not making bad ones, but you're in a situation where you got to get yourself out of. That's when you got to come up with that plan to start to have that healthy relationship with money. Because I'm telling you, it can take you down mentally, it can take you down physically too, and
Yeah.
spiritually. So you really got to wrap yourself around that concept just to become better with it. And if you say, man, I can't do this, find an accountability partner.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't want to find somebody that's broke, because broke gonna get broke. You want to find somebody that's smart,
Right.
somebody that's done this before, somebody that's debt free, somebody that can, they can help you. I'll find a program, like I said, Give the Generations LLC. we offer those services also. So you can always call us, go on our website. We can talk to you too. Because one thing you and I always do, we don't always set a budget right away. We set a guideline for the first 30 days, 6 days, and let them see what they're doing. And then within those 30, 60 days, those constant conversations, it's about mindset shift.
Right.
And
Right.
when you start seeing that shift, then you can start saying, okay, they're like, well, I'm not saving the money. I'm like, it's not about you saving the money right now. It's not about X, Y, and Z. I'm working on your mental state of
Right.
mind.
Right.
Because once you change that shift in your mental state of mind, that same $10 like $100.
Right. Right.
It really does. You're like, oh my goodness.
And
And then you start doing less. Oh, I
right.
need to get this done. Or I need to go to my girls. Or I can, okay, my hair is gonna cost $150. I'm gonna do it for $120 today. Okay,
Right.
I'm not gonna give her a $20 tip. I'm gonna give her a $5 tip or $10 tip.
Right.
You
Right.
start thinking about money, as a resource.
Right. And that's what I was getting ready to say. It's a tool. When you see money as a tool,
Mhm,
then you'll use it wisely.
mhm.
Because think about hammers. You're not going to be swinging it all over the place. You're
No,
going to make sure you're hitting a nail.
on the
Let's say
head.
a saw or something electrical.
Mhm,
You're going to make sure you're using it correctly. Because if not, you can damage yourself,
mhm,
damage
mhm,
something else.
mhm.
So see
Mhm.
money as a tool
Right.
to move your life further
Make it
and
better.
higher
Make it
and make
better.
it better.
Mhm. It's not always easy,
Yeah.
but it's also a decision, a choice that you actively make
Yeah.
and decide to make better. People like saying it's hard. Who said it's going to be easy? It's easy to get in debt. Anybody can swipe, but it's
Mm-hmm.
hard reversing that trend. It really is. That's why I like the having cash in hand. People put this in your hand, put this in your hand. They're like, that money ran out. Well, you guess you ain't got no more for the week. That's a
Right.
positive relationship because now you begin to understand that, I got to change my spending habits. Exactly. Now you begin to form a positive relationship with money because you're seeing that the envelope you had $100 in for, let's say, for eating out. You did that in the weekend. You like, oh, next weekend I just go get. No, you can't. That money is gone. So now you're sitting at home again. So
Right.
that's that trend set. Well, I want to go out with my friends. Yeah, I should have thought about that last weekend.
Right.
You know,
It forces you to give thought,
right.
plan
Right,
things out.
right. And sometimes they go out, be like, okay, where you can get the money from? Like I don't never tell people no. I'm like, where you can get the money from? Where you can get $100 from? What about this right here? Okay. Okay, so when this bill is short, then what? Everything you do when you start robbing Peter to pay Paul, when you start taking from one resource and you grabbing, then you're gonna start that trickle down effect where things start to be short, and eventually it's gonna come down to something where, oh my gosh, because you keep taking, and you get down to the last one, you're like, okay, I can't take no more. My light bill's gonna get turned off. My light will get turned off. So you gotta think about the consequences of your decision because it's gonna impact something.
Right. Because I even know people that will that do work and make pretty good money, but they spend their money however they feel like spending it, and then they call in family members to
Mm.
fill in the gap.
Not me.
So now you working for them because they're counting on your money every month to fill a
Yeah.
gap. Now they out partying and you making the sacrifice and
Mhm.
they out shopping and having a good time. And you are the one that's loaning them the money.
Mhm.
You're not getting it back.
Nope.
Because if they ain't have it the first place, they definitely ain't gonna have it to give it
And
back.
then you can't go to them from a loan because those are the same people you gave money to.
Right.
And don't get mad at them because they don't have it. Well, I loaned you $50 last month. Well, okay, I used it because I didn't have it.
So you got to be careful of those type of people and not
Scenarios.
becoming that person where you're
Crutch.
counting somebody else's money into your financial plan. Like I'm gonna go do what I want. Oh, sister, give me the money. She always
Right.
gives me the money.
Right.
Or you be the one person say, my sister always need $50 every month,
Right.
and you giving it to her. So now you working for you and her.
Mm-hmm. And
That's a negative relationship with money.
For you and that person to get the money from you.
That's right.
Because eventually that's going to upset you mentally. Like, and if you're married, you got a spouse, a husband or wife, they're like, why you always getting this person money? What about us?
Right.
It's going to impact something. The money got to come from somewhere.
Right.
It ain't extra, people.
It ain't on the trees. I'm sorry, because I go out there and look quite often. It ain't on the trees.
Wait a minute. It's not. Oh, let me go shake that money tree.
I
think something. Let me see.
I know we want
tree right here in the corner. I'm gonna shake this money tree.
I know we want to think that it just magically appears, but you have to work for it. Even when you praying to God for financial blessing, it's coming from somewhere. It's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
So just sit back and after you hear this podcast and think about the things
you were think.
you grew up with,
Yeah.
and that the relationship your guardians, your grandparents and
Mm-hmm.
parents had.
Yeah.
And if there's something that you want to change, now take baby steps. You can't change it all at once. Take
What's,
baby
what's that old
steps.
saying? How do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time.
So yeah, take baby steps and
Mm.
change one thing, but it's definitely mindset.
Yeah.
It's your mindset. Once you
Shift
change,
it.
when you make that shift and you want to
Mm.
do better, you're gonna start being active, proactive,
Mm-hmm.
and doing better. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Now you've broken the generational curse, and now you
Mm-hmm.
can bless your kids to show them how to manage money.
Yeah. I know I always, when I see that pivot, that shift, I can almost see it. Even I'm just like either face to face or talking to them on the phone. I can hear it in their voice. I'm like, oh, they're getting it, because they're saying things, they're talking differently, they're making decisions, they give me advice what they should do with the money. So I was asking, what do you think? What do you think? Like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, that's different. What are you thinking? And a lot of times I just know, okay, I encourage you to make the decision. And sometimes it ain't always the best decision, but
Hmm.
it's like, okay, when you make this decision, was this good for you? Was it bad for you? What happened to you? How did it make you feel? Man, that wasn't the best. I mean, it worked out, but I could have done X, Y, and Z. So now I'm teaching,
Hmm.
because you can't decide for every single person. It's just not going
Right.
to work. I always tell your kids sometimes, you want to be able to help your kids out and teach them everything, never let them get hurt. And they always say, let that man, let that boy, that girl stand on their own 2 feet. They got to learn. Exact same thing. Sometimes you got to learn finances,
Right. Right.
without making them go broke. I want to not let
Right.
somebody go out and buy
Right.
no $5,000 decision. Hold on, stop. We ain't doing that, y'all. Let's stop
Right.
right there.
Right.
I'll stop
Small
that. Right.
stuff.
Like, okay, so this is just like a hat,
Yeah. Yeah.
something like
Small
that.
stuff.
Yeah, no, something
Because
that's
we
not
did
going
the
to be
same
detrimental.
things with our boys. We let them make the decision,
Mm-hmm.
and then when they regretted it, it's like, well, you have to live with
Yeah.
your the consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
May it be a good, positive consequence or negative.
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, but you still have to live with it. So this is the decision you made. You
Yeah.
have to live with it. And
Yeah.
then they looking at you like, I want my money back.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about
We
that.
was in Disney World, and I said, okay, y'all, I'm gonna give y'all both $200 a piece, but I was holding on to the money, right?
They were young
Yeah,
then,
but I was
like
holding on to the money. So every time
teenage, young
they won
teens.
something, I would get the money. So they really didn't understand the impact of money coming out of pocket. Then I thought, So I said, here's your money.
When they got old
Yeah,
enough, we just gave it to
I
them.
gave them the money, and I said, okay, now one of my sons said, oh, Dad wanted his wallet. How much it cost? It was $50. You got $50? I said, you got 200. You can use that. He said, hold on a second. That got to come from my money. I'm like, yeah. He said, no, I ain't buying that wallet. It's too expensive. I said, oh, it's okay that I pay for it, but now you got to take it out of your $200. It ain't so smart. He's like, no, because that means I have less left amount of taxes, and I'm good. So when you start putting it back on them, you start showing them this comes from you, not from me, because I was holding the money, getting them $50, $50. They wasn't seeing the impact. They thought
Right.
it was ATM. I got money. Give me more money in the wallet. So I say, this is yours. You do what you want to with it. When it's all gone, you're done. They start making wise decisions.
Yes.
Wise decisions.
And they still that way today.
Yeah.
They try to hold on to their money. Sometimes I'll be like, let it go. Let it go.
Spend it. One thing we always tell our kids, we will always listen to what you want. You can always make a request. I need this. I like to have. We're always going to listen to them, because we want to say, don't ever come to us.
Right.
So we always get the relationship like, I can't go to mom and dad. I'm gonna go to somebody in the street. I'm gonna go to the banker. Well, I would say, come to us first, and let's see what the decision is. See what you're trying to do, and let's talk about it, because we want to be the sound of reasoning to them, and then say, okay, we can do X or we can do Y, or we can do nothing. But at least that we help them to sort out the decision before they go out and do something, that's crazy, or just a bad decision, unwise decision. But the fact that they come to us is healthy for them and healthy for us, because we're not always jumping out of our seats to rescue them. Now,
Right.
does it happen? Yes, of course. Of course. But does it happen every month? No. Probably
No.
once every few years.
Yeah. Yeah. They do something crazy.
Yeah.
And
What
they regret it.
What did my son say? He had money. He had money in his account, y'all. He said, well, you always says, if I need help, I ask you for it. I would tell my wife, I said, boy, you don't need no help. I said, you got plenty of money. He says, but you always said, if I need help. I said, but you don't need no help. He says, but you always said.
So in other words, I want you to help me, because I'm not spending any
yeah.
more of my money. I want to
like-
spend yours.
I was like, And I asked him, I said, this a want or a need? He says, this is a want. It's not a need. I know the difference between the two. I said, why don't you want to spend yours? He says, well, I'm doing these things right here. I just don't want to deplete all my resources. I said, boy, you got plenty of money. You can deplete anything. But you always said you can help me if I ask you. I said, okay. Yeah, be careful to your kids, boy, because 10, 15, 20 years later, going to come back on you. And I did, I kept my word, I didn't do the whole thing. I said, here's a little something for you, because I'm keeping my word. He smiled and went on about his way and did what he had to do with it.
But the difference is like we said, it's not that they come to us all
Right.
the time.
Right.
They rarely come to
Yeah.
us, which means they're doing it. They trial and error. They live
Yeah.
in life
Yeah.
and they making mistakes, but they living with the consequences
Yeah.
of that mistake,
Yeah.
and they moving forward and they learning from
Yeah.
it. So they don't come to us unless when we know they come to us. That means they absolutely have to come to
Yeah.
us.
And that's like rare, very rare. And
Yeah.
I could have said no. He'd have been fine with it because he had plenty of money. But my thing is like, I'm going to continue to feed my son a line where he can continue to come to mom and dad.
Yeah, foster that relationship.
Right.
So that's why I was
Not become
saying,
a crutch.
right, not a crutch.
Right.
Like I said, they don't come to us often,
Right.
which is a blessing
Yeah.
because they learning and they figuring it out as they go along, and they don't make that many mistakes.
Yeah.
And they know that if anything ever happens really bad, they know they can come talk to us.
Right.
And that's what we're saying. You have to have that relationship
That's
with
positive.
that's positive. So
Money.
have that relationship with money where you can start teaching your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't want your kids. Think about it, how stressed you are
Mhm.
if you're not if
Mhm.
you're not spending your money wisely,
Yeah.
and then your bills, and you can't figure out lunch money and stuff. Think about it. You
Yeah.
don't want that for your kids. So it's up to you to learn it,
Yeah.
to learn to have that
Right.
healthy relationship with
Amen.
money so you can teach your kids. That's all we're saying. So
All right.
break the generational curse. Have that mindset that you're going to know
Shift it.
better and do
Pivot.
better.
Shift it. Pivot. All right then. That was
So that was it. So
a good session.
yeah, that was an excellent session. So my husband handed me this piece of paper. He don't want to do it this
No, I'm
week.
about to
Yeah.
cough, so I didn't want to be coughing.
Okay, so we just wanted to give out our social media handles so that you can hit us up. Facebook, you can find us under Gifted Gen LLC. Instagram, we're gift.gen. YouTube, we're at Gifted Generations LLC. And we're on Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio as Financeology 101. And we're on Twitter, wow, at GiftedGen 2019. Now, our website is giftedgenerations-llc.com. Again, giftedgenerations-llc.com. And out there, you can find testimonials of individuals that we've helped with their financial situations, with our money for tomorrow financial coaching service.
Yeah.
You can find additional podcasts out there if you click on the links.
Yeah.
A page to book consultation with us.
Yeah.
So all this will be listed on our Podbean website. All these this social media information.
Yeah.
So
I think our recent client is a part one and a part two. I think she, when we helped her out, she was able to save over $18,000 in less than 8 months. She wiped out that much debt. So now she's on the verge of being able to move out, get her own place, and get a car.
Yeah.
Before she couldn't see a dollar every month. She was like, "Where is my money going?" Now
and she was making. I was like, she make how much?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, y'all would be mouth wide open if you knew how much money she made.
Yeah.
Astronomical, but she was burning through it and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
The mindset. She had a negative relationship with money because the minute she got it, she was giving it away. She was spending it up, and then she looked up,
gone. But now she's different, still some work, always some work, but she's able to make better decisions, wiser decisions,
Yeah,
And
this was back in September, so it's a part one and part two.
mhm,
Go out there. I think it's called Let's Talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
money. So go out there and listen to her story. So
yeah,
now
it's
she's doing
incredible.
extremely
She's about
well,
ready to move out.
extremely
She's about
well.
ready to move out.
And it all comes from positive,
Hmm.
negative relationship with money, and she
Yeah.
turned it from negative to positive.
And that's when like I said, that is one of the generation's recent clients. So in 8 months, we turned her whole life around. In 8 months, you saying that's a long time? No, it's not. When you in debt for 35 years, when you struggling for 35 years, 8 months seems short.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? It's like we
Mm-hmm.
see it differently. So we help her to understand the shift. So
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening. We truly appreciate you.
yeah,
Just make sure you like and share this podcast and just bless someone else to go out there and listen to all the other ones we have.
yeah,
So,
that's plenty out there too.
all righty, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for tuning in to our podcast, Financeology 101. I hope you enjoyed this session and the information provided will assist you on your financial journey. Until next time, be financially engaged.